China just flipped the script on the entire AI industry, and nobody saw it coming. While Silicon Valley was busy celebrating their latest models, something massive was happening in the shadows. Microsoft just dropped a bombshell warning that changes everything we thought we knew about who's winning the AI race. And here's where it gets wild. This isn't about who has the fanciest technology anymore. It's about something far more dangerous.
Right now, as you're watching this, AI systems in Africa, Eastern Europe, and Latin America are running on Chinese models. Not American ones, not European ones, Chinese. And the reason why will shock you. But that's just the beginning. Because while this silent takeover is happening, Apple just made a move that nobody expected. They picked a side in the AI wars, and it wasn't who everyone thought it would be. Then Anthropic released something that literally takes control of your computer files. A startup called Manus figured out how to turn your real-world conversations into instant deliverables. And Google? They just laid the groundwork for AI agents to buy things with your money across the entire internet. These aren't random developments. They're all connected. They're all pieces of the same terrifying and exciting future that's coming, whether we're ready or not. So let's break down what's really happening here, because once you understand the pattern, you'll never look at AI the same way again. Microsoft's warning isn't your typical corporate announcement. This is one of the most powerful tech companies on Earth basically admitting they're losing ground in a battle most people don't even know is happening. And they're not losing where you'd expect. The West still dominates in premium AI services, enterprise software, and high-end infrastructure. But here's the twist. That might not matter anymore. See, Western AI companies built their empires on a specific formula: premium pricing, enterprise contracts, and infrastructure-heavy deployment. It's like building luxury cars. Great margins, impressive technology, but limited reach. China looked at that playbook and said, what if we did the opposite? They're not trying to build the Ferrari of AI. They're building the Toyota Corolla. Reliable, affordable, and everywhere. The numbers are staggering. In developing markets across 3 continents, Chinese AI models are becoming the default choice. Not because they're necessarily better, but because they're accessible. When a startup in Lagos or a university in Sao Paulo needs AI capabilities, they're not asking about benchmark scores. They're asking what they can actually afford and deploy today. And increasingly, the answer is Chinese models. DeepSeek is the perfect example. Microsoft specifically calls out how this Chinese language model has captured massive usage in regions where Western models barely have a footprint. In some markets, Chinese models now handle more AI interactions than all Western offerings combined. Think about what that means. Every developer learning on these systems, every business building on this infrastructure, every student growing up with these tools, they're all becoming locked into a Chinese AI ecosystem. This is exactly how technology empires are built. Remember how Microsoft Windows became dominant? It wasn't always the best operating system, but it was everywhere. Once businesses invested in Windows software, trained their employees on Windows, and built their workflows around Windows, switching became almost impossible. The same thing is happening right now with AI, except this time it's happening on a global scale, and the West is on the losing side. But here's where it gets really interesting. China isn't winning through random luck or copying Western innovations. They're executing a coordinated strategy that the West can't match. Government support, massive infrastructure investment, and a domestic market of 1.4 billion people to test and refine their products. They're not competing company by company. They're competing as an entire ecosystem. Microsoft even mentions something analysts call the 6 Little Dragons, a cluster of Chinese AI firms that are rapidly catching up to Western alternatives. These aren't scrappy startups anymore. They're well-funded, state-backed entities with the resources to ship at scale and the mandate to expand globally. And they're doing it at price points that make Western offerings look absurdly expensive. The implications are massive. If Chinese AI stacks dominate emerging markets, Western tech companies don't just lose customers. They lose the data that makes AI better. They lose the developer ecosystems that create innovation. They lose the market feedback that drives improvement. Eventually, they lose their competitive edge entirely. That's why Microsoft is sounding the alarm. This isn't about next quarter's earnings. It's about the next decade of technological dominance. And while Microsoft is warning about external threats, Apple just made a move that shows even Western tech giants are realizing they can't go it alone anymore. After months of speculation, Apple officially announced they're partnering with Google to power their next generation of AI features. Not OpenAI, not their own internal models. Google, this is Apple we're talking about, the company that famously does everything in-house. The company that spent years building their own chips just to avoid depending on others. And they just admitted that when it comes to AI, they need Google's help. Specifically, they're using Google's Gemini models as the foundation for Apple's AI features, including a completely rebuilt Siri coming in 2026. The financial details are mind-blowing. Reports suggest Apple might be paying around $1 billion annually for this access. That's not a licensing fee. That's infrastructure money. Apple evaluated everyone, OpenAI, Anthropic, their own internal efforts, and concluded that Gemini provides the best foundation for what they're trying to build. But here's the really clever part. Apple isn't abandoning their privacy-first approach. They're still running AI on-device when possible, still using their private cloud compute infrastructure, still maintaining what they call industry-leading privacy standards. They're just acknowledging that the foundation models themselves require resources and expertise that even Apple can't match alone. What's even more fascinating is that Apple isn't replacing their existing OpenAI integration. They're stacking providers. ChatGPT will still handle certain complex queries, while Gemini powers the foundation models and core Siri capabilities. Apple is essentially building an AI routing system that can leverage the best model for each specific task. It's brilliant, and it shows how the future of AI might not be about picking winners, but about orchestrating multiple systems. The timing is perfect too. Alphabet just surpassed Apple in market cap for the first time since 2019. Investors are betting that AI capability matters more than hardware elegance. And by partnering with Google, Apple gets to tap into that capability while maintaining their user experience advantage. It's a win-win that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Meanwhile, Anthropic is pushing AI in a completely different direction, directly into your personal computer. They just released something called Co-work, built into their Claude Mac app. And this isn't just another chatbot. This is an AI agent that can actually read, edit, and create files on your computer. The distinction matters. Most AI assistants give you advice. They'll tell you how to organize your files or suggest what to write. Co-work actually does it. Give it access to a folder, and it can reorganize your entire file structure, extract data from images, compile reports from scattered notes, or create new documents based on existing ones. It's the difference between having a consultant and having an employee. The safety implications are obvious and terrifying. You're literally giving an AI system access to your files. Anthropic has built-in safeguards. You choose which folders it can access. It asks permission before major actions like deletions, and they're actively monitoring for prompt injection attacks where malicious documents try to hijack the agent. But the very fact that we need these safeguards shows how powerful and potentially dangerous this technology is becoming. What's really interesting is how Anthropic is positioning this. It's not just about automation, it's about delegation. The AI can handle multi-step projects, accept feedback in real time, and even integrate with external data sources or browser-based workflows. You're not just asking it to do one thing, you're giving it a goal and letting it figure out the steps. While Anthropic is digitizing your desktop work, Manus is going after something even more fundamental: your real-world conversations. They just launched a feature that sounds simple but could change how we work forever. It records in-person meetings and turns them into structured outputs, action items, and even finished deliverables. This isn't another Zoom recorder. It's specifically designed for physical meetings, the kind where people actually sit in the same room. It identifies speakers, creates attendee lists, and assigns action items to specific people. Even more impressive, it works offline. No Wi-Fi? No problem. It keeps recording and processes everything once you're back online. But here's the killer feature. It doesn't just transcribe. It can generate actual deliverables from the meeting notes. Need a presentation based on what was discussed? It creates it. Want a website mock-up from your brainstorming session? Done. Social media posts summarizing key decisions? Already drafted. It's closing the gap between talking about work and actually producing work. The business model is clever too. Recording is free, but the AI analysis and output generation require credits. They're betting that once people see the value of turning conversations into deliverables, they'll pay for it, and they're probably right. Speaking of closing gaps, 1X Technologies just made a breakthrough that could finally make humanoid robots useful. They've integrated a new world model into their Neo robot platform that fundamentally changes how robots learn and operate. Traditional robotics is painfully slow. You record thousands of hours of robots doing tasks, train on that data, test, repeat. It's expensive and limited. 1X's approach is radically different. They're using internet-scale video pre-training combined with first-person perspective data from both humans and robots. The AI watches videos, understands how actions lead to outcomes, and then figures out how to recreate those outcomes in the real world. The technical details are mind-blowing. A 14 billion parameter model generates video predictions of what should happen, then translates those predictions into actual robot movements. It takes about 11 seconds per action right now, which isn't instant, but the trade-off is worth it. The robot can handle novel objects and situations it's never encountered before. It's not just following a script, it's actually understanding and adapting. Early results show the system matching or exceeding previous models in complex tasks like bimanual coordination and robust object manipulation. That's technical speak for it can use both hands effectively and doesn't drop things, which might not sound impressive until you realize how hard that is for robots to do reliably. But perhaps the biggest move of all comes from Google, and it's hidden in plain sight. They just announced the Universal Commerce Protocol, UCP, and while that sounds boring, it might be the most important development here. This is the plumbing that will let AI agents buy things across the entire internet. Think about what that means. Right now, if an AI wants to buy something for you, it needs to navigate different websites, different payment systems, different security protocols. It's a mess. UCP standardizes all of that. One protocol that works with Shopify, Walmart, Target, eBay, and eventually everyone else. Your AI assistant could price compare across dozens of stores, find the best deal, and complete the purchase without you touching anything. Google's already integrating this into their AI search and Gemini app. Search for a product, and the AI can buy it right there using your Google Wallet or PayPal. The retailer stays in control, handles fulfillment, and maintains the customer relationship, but the friction of actually purchasing disappears. They're also launching business agents, AI representatives that respond to customer inquiries in the brand's voice, right in search results. Imagine searching for a product and having the company's AI assistant appear to answer questions, offer deals, or help with sizing. It's like having a salesperson in every search result. This isn't just about convenience. It's about fundamentally changing how commerce works. When AI agents can shop as easily as humans, when they can compare prices instantly across every store, when they can negotiate on your behalf, that changes everything. The entire retail industry will have to adapt. So let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Microsoft warns that China is winning the global AI infrastructure race by being cheaper and more accessible. Apple admits they need Google's help to compete in AI. Anthropic is putting AI agents directly into our computers. Manus is turning conversations into deliverables. 1X is making robots that can actually think. And Google is building the infrastructure for AI agents to participate in the economy. These aren't isolated events. They're all symptoms of the same shift. AI is moving from impressive demos to actual deployment. From chatbots to agents. From assistance to automation. From Western dominance to global competition. The comfortable assumptions about who's winning, who's in control, and what's possible are all being shattered.
The future isn't about which company has the best model. It's about which ecosystem captures developers, users, and infrastructure. It's about which standards become universal. It's about which approaches scale to billions of people, not just millions. And right now, that future is being written by players and in places that most people aren't even watching. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.